all cylinders. You know, Crim's had some off games. Same with Scump, which is like really rare. We don't really see him put together some bad games, but need to rotate. Need to get those big kills on rotation. They won that hard point against FaZe Lancaster on throwback with some big plays late on the rotation. They need to do that consistently. Against like a team like LG, it's going to be very difficult.
Of course, it isn't over for OpTic Gaming. They are 2-1 down, though. Backs fully against the wall. One map away from eliminating. We've seen them clutch up before. I mean, we saw earlier on in today. Can they do it again?
I mean, OpTic Gaming, you know, nothing's impossible with these boys. But the one thing that I'm scared for them at the moment is I looked at LG versus EnVyUs, and they were having a bit of, you know, Octane had a bit of an off game, and they still kind of came through. This time, they've got all 4 players firing on all 4 cylinders. They are smashing it. Octane's playing a lot better. Slacked is still going insane. Like, I came back after a 2-minute break of watching the hardpoint. I saw that they were winning, and then I was like, what's Slack doing? I look over, and he's like 33 and 20 or something like that. He for me, has been fantastic for Luminosity Gaming. And going into, you know, another hardpoint, it's going to be very difficult.
It will be indeed. We'll keep you updated with that. But for now, we've been talking a lot about the stops on the tour for the CWL. Obviously, coming up next, Dallas. But after Dallas, I'm excited to say, of course, Anaheim. We love going to Anaheim. I feel like me and you were talking about this like yesterday. Anaheim is just an unbelievable event. It has some of the best crowds in there. Of course, you can see the Anaheim Convention Center, $200,000, 160-plus team open bracket, plus an all-star matchup as well. Team, it's going to be a wonderful time.
Some of the most memorable moments we've had at MLG in tournaments in general for Call of Duty esports. You know, Anaheim's sort of where it started. A lot of big storylines. Yep. I love playing at Anaheim. I'm not a player anymore, but I won there 3 times. Lots of trophies there.
Yeah, pretty good performances at Anaheim. I imagine you have an idea of where Anaheim's located.
Yeah, somewhere.
Really? Yeah, somewhere.
West Coast.
Yep,
around LA. Yeah, I've dreamt about it.
I've been really impressed with how well you've learned this week.
I mean, this is actually my first MLG. I mean, Anaheim. Sitting at home, admittedly, you know, I wasn't picking up the trophies like these 2 guys, but it was where all the storylines were kind of made. For me, it's something, it's kind of historic, and that's where, you know, you see even just kind of pictures of just thousands upon thousands of people watching these fantastic games, and it's going to be a good one, but of course, Dallas first.
It definitely will. Some of the best crowds, as you mentioned, TP. I'm so excited to be heading back there later in the year, of course. As we saw in the main stage, though, I do want to just kind of quickly touch on that, Matt. United, you called it a swift 3-0. That's a dispatch of Envy. 6-1 in maps against Envy specifically. Who beats these guys now?
I feel like even though we've been saying like how good they are, we're still kind of like selling them short a little bit. Yep. I mean, I thought they were going to win that series, not in that fashion, though. But, I mean, this is a team that has not lost to anyone yet. You know, they're very good in the respawn game modes. They play really smart. Pristini in the search and destroys has been very consistent. It's going to be tough for anybody to beat them. I mean, right now, I mean, they have to be the favorites without a doubt. I mean, they have not lost anybody. You know, they've looked very strong in every facet of the game.
It's either Gunless or it's Pristini. Every single game, one of these two puts an MVP performance on, and there's nothing that another team can do. Every time we see a Gunless popping, you know, a 40 bomb in hardpoint, Pristini going off in the search and destroys, we saw in the retaliation. It was like the 3rd round. We looked away for 1 second. We looked back. He's at 9 kills already. We're like, what is going on here? Just the 1v1 situation's going so well for these guys. And MVP.
I think you can throw the experience thing out of the window. I mean,
that's gone. Yeah.
You know, they go up against Splice. Splice, the more experienced team, they beat them. They go up against FaZe, most experienced team, you know, in that matchup, they beat them. They go in against Envy, you know, the Envy's played on the biggest stage of them all. Really hype match, winner bracket final, they beat them. So I think the whole experience thing, you know, they're not used to the stage. That can all go away.
Here's the thing I'm worried about, though, and this is something that you kind of briefly talked about when we ran backstage and grabbed some food. They play against OpTic Gaming. If they play against OpTic Gaming, I should say, of course, OpTic have to get there first. The crowd.
It's a different beast. I mean, it's a different beast. You're going to get up on the stage. You're not going to be able to hear yourself think. I mean, I remember we've gone on the stage and played, you know, and he was playing against OpTic, and I mean, you can't hear each other. I mean, the place is so loud, and I think that can definitely be really jarring, especially if OpTic makes it back. They're going to be hot. I think if United makes it there, you know, obviously they're there. If OpTic makes it there, I think they got to win that first series. I think you let OpTic kind of hang around, you let the fans get into it more, you know, the more hype, it would be very difficult to win a second series.
For me, I just kind of want to go back to United just for a second and just almost look at what EnVyUs have done. We were just kind of hyping up how MVP performance apathy was doing. JCat was on form. If we actually look what United has done, they've 3-1 them in the pools, they've 3-0'd them on main stage. It's just to kind of take that in, you know, sit back, soak it up for a second. It's almost kind of surreal of what these 4 players are actually doing. And I just think, can anyone stop them right now? And I think OpTic may need that fifth player as the crowd if they get there.
And they haven't had an easy road. I mean, they beat the, one of the best teams, if not the best in Europe in Splice. Then they go past FaZe, who's a very tough team, one that we may have considered, a favorite coming into this one. And then Envy, they beat them after how good Envy has looked all tournament long. I mean, it has not been an easy road for E United as well.
Very true indeed. Of course, though, for OpTic Gaming, if they do want to get all the way to the grand final, they have to go past Luminosity Gaming, a team who, I mean, they've had a fantastic, fantastic event so far. A lot of people kind of doubted them a little bit coming in. But let's take a look at their journey through the bracket so far. Luminosity, of course, having a fantastic event, but, I mean, you saw the stats there. Slacked, what an event he's had. We're talking about that Control Freak MVP. I mean, if Luminosity keep on going, if they keep trudging through this bracket, TP, we have to consider him in that conversation as well.
Oh, for sure. The amount of time he's averaging per hardpoint is absolutely insane. And the fact that he's getting in so many confrontations, I think that's really the difference maker. And OpTic needs to be scared going into a Scorch hardpoint. OpTic hasn't had much success on Scorch. I don't think they've won it one time. Going up against someone like Slacked, this might be done.
This is the thing, though. I feel like every time we talk about OpTic Gaming, they find a way of clutching. They just do, right, Matt? Like, I feel like, although you're completely right, if you base this off statistics, you'd be like, Luminosity's going to win this. They're a fantastic hardpoint team. OpTic, they're going into an unpreferred map. But it's OpTic Gaming. We've seen them do it all throughout today.
A lot of close games, though. I mean, eventually you think the magic's got to run out. But, I mean, Luminosity, the one thing I look with them is we've seen monster games from Classic, Slacked, Octane as well. It's like, you must feel like Saints is due for one. Like a hardpoint game on a very close map, close quarter engagements. Like you almost feel like Saints is due for a big game. Like he hasn't had one yet that I've seen thus far. But he's just so talented of a player. You think this may be one?
I think Saints, very early stages pool play against, the lower tier teams, he kind of bossed it. But we talked about it. We said, when he comes against the likes of OpTic Gaming, he'll be putting up neutral, for example. It's not a bad thing by all means to go neutral against OpTic Gaming. But yeah, I think he's well overdue, a bit of a stellar performance. If he does go off alongside the likes of Slack, this could end in 4. It could be bad news for the Green Wall.
I think that's one of the big questions. If you're an OpTic Gaming player, how do you shut down Slack? How do you shut down this player? Who is it you look at, TP, that says, you have to step up to the plate and you have to deal with this issue in Luminosity?
It's tough to say. I mean, initially, you just have to say Scump. Scump needs to just go off like we know he can, and Scump and Formal have been playing really well today. Maybe it's up to Karma, really. Maybe that's the difference maker in the hard points. He's been getting a little bit less altercations in the hard points. Maybe he's the one that's playing too slow. I don't know. I think it's a combination thing. It's tough to pinpoint one person. I don't want to put the blame on any of them, to be honest, because the games have been close. Something not clicking, though, obviously.
Karma was really good in the closeout game against FaZe on the throwback hard point. So maybe it is Karma. I think you really need Krim to step up. Karma, for me, is more of a player who's going to fill gaps, just pick up those situational plays. I think that third Slayer on the team needs to be Krim.
In terms of predictions, though, for this one, of course, we will go to a live look-in with the Bravo stream and kind of give you all that information there. But, Memo, I'm going to start with you. Prediction for this one. I'm going to throw you under the bus. You did say Luminosity was going to take it 3-1. Are you staying with that?
100% I'm sticking with that. And I know it's not a fan favorite choice, but Luminosity, for me, have just looked fantastic. I'm going to Luminosity 3-1.
Okay. Matt?
Trying to think of the last time I saw OpTic play this map. I remember watching it in the 2K against FaZe. They went at 250, 249. I don't remember watching them play it in a game I've casted so far at this event.
It was 0%, like TP said last time we.
Oh, really? Okay,
so this event. Last time we checked.
I'm going to say Luminosity close it out here. I know it's probably not the fan favorite pick. It's not the sexy pick, but I'm going to take Luminosity.
Teep, you've been a part of those magical runs throughout your career. Is this the end for OpTic Gaming?
I don't know.
It's hard, right?
The Magic's going to keep on going, I think. I think they're going to somehow squeeze out a win. I think they may have won it one time in the loser bracket, maybe versus Elevate, actually, if I remember correctly. They were able to clutch it up. So maybe they can do something similar here. Again, I'll have to double-check all that. It's been a lot of games throughout loser bracket for these guys today. So they got to focus on these rotations. Seems like they're doing a better job of recognizing those sort of situations now. Usually what we see from OpTic Gaming and Hardpoint, traditionally at least, is they're able to snowball multiple hills in a row. Throughout IW, I just haven't really seen it. They don't pull away ever.
And what do you think that actually is, Matt?
Which is weird because you figure in this game, I know, as like last year, where you could earn those score streaks and abilities a little bit faster by taking some of those hills, you figure you would be able to snowball games in your favor a little bit harder than usual. Just taking a look at the scoreboard here really early in this game, obviously very close this moment in time. Turbine Hill in control to OpTic Gaming, but I know Octane getting off to a slow start for LG, not a good sign. On the other side of things, Formal has just been unreal. I think all tournament long, Formal's just been a monster. But you expect Octane to kind of even things out. Scump, if he doesn't pick it up, though, could be a loss.
Yeah, I think touching on what Matt said there, Formal, he's just doing what he does best, and he's been very, very consistent. I think I've seen him have one off game. Of course, I've not seen every single game that they have played. However, rotations on this is so important. Scorch, it was very much like Breakout. We saw that OpTic Gaming did pull out the victory on previously. That was against FaZe. So I do think OpTic Gaming have got better throughout this whole tournament at Hardpoint. We saw them taking victories over Panda, for example, who they previously lost to. I think they maybe gelling a little bit more, but I'm just going to go back to it. Octane, I saw him start slow on Uplink against Infused. I saw him start slow on Hardpoint against Infused. I hope this 1-5, now 1-6, does change very quickly.
Looking at Formal score lines in the past couple of Hardpoints, too, people probably won't like what I'm about to say, but it's been very similar story throughout all these guys, right? Formal has been obviously on top of the leaderboard. Above 30 kills, 40 kills every single game. Maybe it's the way that Formal's playing that might be a little bit slow, but when the guy's putting up so many points, you know what I mean? I'm trying to, hold all players on the team accountable, right? Yes, he's the one leading in the stat category for sure, but is that hindering someone else? Think deep. You got to think more deep.
Are we trying to blame the guy that's double positive every game?
I don't think he's trying
double
to positive.
No, not double positive.
So.
I mean, gassing a little bit. I don't know. I'm just thinking a little different.
Look, maybe I guess he plays some different positions, gives some of those power positions to other players.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right, so I understand that argument, but then on the other side of things, it's like, well, if I'm shooting significantly better than everybody else, if I put them there, they're going to die, and now nobody's getting any kills.
When the guy's putting up 40, I mean, Formal's looked like at least a top 3 player at this tournament.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I'm not by no means putting him, on the burner for losing hard points for sure. I'm just trying to figure out what that issue is.
And just to kind of go back to the point Momo pointed out, Octane currently 3-9. I mean, you think about those like AR fights you're going to be having. Formal currently sitting at 7-7. You got Karma really stepping up a little bit, 11-7. TB, that was a player you said really does need to have a bit of a better performance just to guarantee OpTic Gaming to take this to a map number 5. But Momo, so far, what's been going wrong for Octane? Why isn't he finding that groove that we know he can get into?
I honestly think it is that maybe the positioning that we talk about, and the fact, let's not forget who he is going up against in those assault rifle battles. Whether it's Formal, Scum, Scum's using the K-bar just like everyone else. He's not rocking that ERAD, so he's going up against, of course, a very hard opponent, but he had the same difficulties against the likes of Infused, which they still won. So I think it's something he may be finding just a little bit tricky. I don't know whether it's just this championship.
And way back at Vegas, the only games that Octane got into trouble in were the close quarter maps because of the OSA, because he loves using the NV4. You're just not going to win those gunfights. So a map like this, you're going to see a ton of K-bar, maybe an ERAD. The NV4 are going to be a little bit tougher to use.
Fair enough. As it stands, the scoreline 93-78. Luminosity starting to come back a little bit into this one as they hold over towards that bridge hardpoint. Still plenty of time left on that hardpoint. No, Memo, you still confident in your prediction here that Luminosity is going to take this one?
I still think they are. He's good. I do want to go back to it. That Octane on a 5-kill streak there, he does bring it back literally as we're talking about him.
And that was something that you highlighted as well earlier on. He's had very, very slow starts on nearly every one of his games so far today, but he consistently steps it up.
Yeah.
How is that happening, Omar? Is it just he's catching fire?
I mean, if someone is a slower player at the start of the game, I don't want to say that's him, because I've seen this guy for years and it's not been the case. He's always been the one, almost been the one with the highest KD, the top slayer, if you like, sitting back, getting those important kills. I think he may have just had a bit of another slow start, but he's found his groove. He's 12-12.
At least watching, for me, the biggest thing that I can kind of take from this is like you watched a ton of last year. When when OpTic Gaming would get off to, a pretty good start and the main slayer for the other team would struggle, they would not be up by like 20 points.
They'd be up by
blowout games.
120 points.
120 points. Yeah, it just seems like they're just letting these teams hang around for way too long when it's like, we have the advantage early, we got Formal really click in, all they need is one other piece to get going. It just seems like they're starting out really slow, lackadaisical in some of these games.
And why do you think that is, Teep? Like, what is the cause of that slower play?
So traditionally in slower hardpoint, it's usually the first person that dies in any sort of situation. When the other team tries to break, they get to the position to block a spawn. It's whoever first dies in your initial setup is usually the one to blame, and it is the reason that the other team breaks. So maybe it's that person pushing out a little bit too far on these hold term OpTic Gaming. Maybe it's the rotations. Could be multiple things. But finally, the things we've been talking about, the OpTic snowball seems to be happening here. They held the majority of the last steal. They're able to win those intro fights over here towards this top lab area, and here it goes. You see the score finally transition after all these kills. You look at the scoreboard now, they're outslaying by, what, 6, 7, 8 kills about now, but you see it finally transitioning to the scoreboard.
Of course, this a losers round 7 matchup. The winner of this will go on to the losers bracket final, where Team EnVyUs awaits. I'm sure they're watching this game intently, trying to get as much information as they can about how these two teams play. You'd expect them to know a fair amount so far already, but every bit of information definitely helps. Luminosity trying to come back into this one, Matt, but has OpTic Gaming done enough already, do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think you're going to see the next 10 or so seconds go to LG. See, they do have players on the bottom side of the map rotating over here towards Drill, and they see that's the type of situation where Octane, he's there in position. He's in the right spot for Drill. It's just that NV4 versus K-Bar battle. It's very difficult up close.
Well, the one thing I'll say is Saints, we talked about him maybe having a bit of a better game. He certainly stepped up. He's the first player out of the 8 to hit 20 alongside Karma. Karma notoriously not a player to put huge numbers up. Both of these players are stepping up here. OpTic Gaming, though, I'm not going to say are comfortable, but this has been very consistent. For the last kind of 3 minutes, they've had a 40 to 50 point lead. A big break, obviously, onto the hard point. This is looking good for OpTic Gaming. If they can just continuously trade out here, put 200 on the board, this is looking good for a map 5.
Obviously, we heard from Karma earlier on in his post-game interview. He's talking a little bit about his 1v1. He was like, I don't know what I was doing. I just managed to win it somehow. I think that's a testament to him. Exactly that. It's just he clutches. He always finds a way to clutch it. And I feel like he can transfer that top.
The thing that I always think of is that Ghost Champs, when he snipes you in the back of the head. It's like he just like there's just some things like he just plays differently. He just makes these decisions where you're just like, what the hell is he doing?
Like, so in the moment is the best way to put it. He's a very emotional type of player. He's one of those players that moves with the game, if that makes sense.
I do that at home as well.
It's funny to see.
Moves with his controller in his hand. He's trying to peek around corners whilst playing.
I actually think I can dodge the bullets being shot at me.
I can confirm you can't. 199 though to 160 it seems. Luminosity starting to make a little bit of a game out of this one potentially. Of course, as it stands, Luminosity are 2-1 up in the series. A win here would knock OpTic Gaming out of the CWL Atlanta Open.
Yeah, I think a really important part now is we're getting to the stage of the hard point. A lot of payloads are coming in, and utilization of payloads are so important. We saw previously the likes of FaZe, Clayster, he used his camo on that barn hard point, got nothing, lost the game. They need to use it. We see reactive armor being used there, and Luminosity, they're closing that gap here, Ben.
And Saints has stepped up into another gear right now. 27 and 18. He's just gone on a period of the past couple of minutes when we've been talking. He's just continuously started to slay, and you're starting to see Karma slow down as well. That's so important to note. 23 and 20, and you can see that reflected in the score. TP 202 now to 185.
Very even slaying in right now. Saints able to go up top through that doorway and pick up 2 kills, flooding in now with his team. Should be able to wipe it out, but no, Scump and Karma somehow get to that box and clean it out again. I thought LG was going to be very easily able to clear that one out, but Scump and Karma completely take it over. It was a close slaying game for just a second, but now Karma's on an absolute tear, picking up these players at wall run, top hallway. There's nothing that LG can do now.
That realistically may have been the game for LG. I mean, right there, if they're able to get in and get a hold there on Turbine, they come in and probably end up taking the lead, but just a fantastic play. I believe it was Scump and Karma there to be able to pick up some kills. It's going to be very difficult. I mean, LG, they get back the hill here, but they got to get all the way across the map now.
Yes, they do. It's going to be tough. 230 to 191. We've seen teams make fantastic holds so far here in Atlanta on exactly this hill. Memo, you feeling confident? Can Luminosity do it? Can they break quickly and then take control of the game?
OpTic Gaming, it's theirs to lose right now. They've got full control. I think OpTic should close this out. I think they will close this out and prove me wrong here. However, payloads are important. Here is Classic. He's going to be utilizing the camo. He's going to pick up 1, but teammates fall in 3 down. They've got the chains now. However, 45 seconds, they cannot end it here, but they have to hold on.
And this is scary, Teep. This is very, very scary.
How'd they spawn there? OpTic gets the back spawns very close to the hill. I thought they should have spawned out a little bit further out towards cave like they're getting now, but regardless, the trade's going down back and forth. Crim in a tough situation. Wins the second gunfight somehow, though, and the third at hallway. Ian Porter, Crim 6, absolutely clutching up for the OpTic Gaming squad right now, and that should be it.
And that's going to be the map, absolutely, 250 to 210.
That spawn.
Yeah, LG definitely think they have broken that spawn. They had no idea they were coming from the back cave. They expected that, after you wipe them out, spawn all the way across, coming across the bridge, and does not happen.
Once again, OpTic Gaming just find a way to clutch up. You can doubt them. You can see the stats on paper. It looks like it's going to be Ludos TP. You called it, though. You just can't write them out.
Something is just working for them today. They shouldn't be in this round, but they're here. They shouldn't have won that map, but they did.
How long will the magic go? You tell me. You've been a part of this. You've seen these moments your entire career.
You can feel it, like when you're like the team that it's happening,
answer,
but you can feel it.
I hate this answer, but you just feel like you can't lose. Like, I'm just laughing. How do they win that?
Everything seems to go your way. Right?
How'd they win the Panda game?
Some things are just
right.
Like, even Karma said it himself.
Blessed.
So, Damon, how'd you play that round? He goes, I don't know. They won. They're here. They're dominating somehow.
A crazy ending to that one. Of course, that game not over just yet. That will be going to a Game 5. Before we jump straight into that one, though, let's take a Pro Points update right now. Of course, this is just going to be North America. We can kind of see how things may be shaping out. Cloud9,
wow.
the team that was in the final estimate, moves from 2nd to 7th. Panda Gaming moves from 13th to 8th. Rise is now out of the top 3 as
Panda
well.
somewhere dancing.
I mean, I imagine the Panda mascot is definitely having a fun time with that news. Allegiance drops out of the top 9, and bear in mind, you would need that top 9 to make it into the Pro League. United guarantees themselves the top 3 as well. I mean, Matt, that's a lot of changes right there. What's your take on that?
I mean, that's a lot of changes without counting, all the pro points on the line at ESWC next weekend. I mean, Cloud9, they go from 2 to 7. Realistically, they throw up another dud of a performance. They find themselves right with Allegiance outside of the top 8.
Right, a lot of changes in North America, but let's take a look at any of the changes that may have occurred over in Europe. All 6 pool play teams got top 16, further distancing themselves from the rest of Europe. Top 6, of course, make the Global Pro League. I mean, are you expecting to see any different teams, Memo, try and break in, or do you think that top 6 is now potentially settled?
I think that's is pretty much set in stone, and the one team that I really had a lot of hope for was Epsilon. They had to fight through open bracket. They did. They made it out alongside Imperial, but I thought Epsilon would go on maybe a little bit more of a run. They actually dropped out, of course, a little bit before that. I spoke to Desire. He was so disappointed. He was behind on pro points, that squad, before they came here. They needed a big performance. They didn't provide. And I think they're going to fall even further behind.
Of course, we all know the stories over from the APAC region of the Australian teams not telling each other they're coming. This, of course, the update from there. Tainted Minds maintains number 1 with a 600 pro point lead on Mindfreak. I mean, we're talking that is minuscule. And only the top 1, of course, make the Pro League. Top 2 make CWL Dallas pools. So, I mean, that gap, TP, it's nothing. 600 pro points, I mean. Whoa.
Mindfreak's happy they did pretty well here. Because they must have caught up pretty heavily. I'm not sure how many points they actually got for their place in here, but very good.
Tainted Minds had a pretty good run in a lot of the 2Ks, so this makes up for a lot of that. And you got to believe Mindfreak goes home, feels pretty good about themselves. They kind of build on this.
The one thing I look at is top 2 make Dallas. Settle at Dallas. Who's the best team? Top 1 makes it in. There's only one way to find out. They're both going to make the pools. I don't think any other APAC team can contest that top 2 at the moment, so it just makes Dallas even more exciting.
Yeah, Chiefs would be the next closest one.
I mean, that's so much pressure, right? For those 2 teams, you think about, okay, settle it in Dallas. But the gap is so small. I mean, that's a crazy ending, potentially for that.
Tainted Minds bows out really early. I think I saw last night, I checked the bracket. They had a bye round 1, a bye round 2. They win round 3, they lose round 4. So realistically, they beat one team. They go into losers, and I don't really know what happens after that. But Mindfreak, I mean, they start in pool play, and they don't have to go through the rigors of the open bracket. They realistically could have made even closer in Pool A.
Very true. Of course, we're following the OpTic Gaming versus Luminosity Gaming matchup for now. I believe the players are just getting everything set up, so we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we return, more action here at Championship Sunday. Welcome back to Championship Sunday here at the CWL Atlanta Open, hosted by Major League Gaming. Coming up next, we're going to go to a Bravo look-in, of course, staying with OpTic Gaming versus Luminosity. That one going all the way to a Game 5. Every time we kind of doubt OpTic Gaming on their journey so far here on Championship Sunday, they prove us wrong, and they're going to continue to do so. I mean, we can start earlier on in the day. They've had those clutch moments. I mean, go back to that game versus Panda. I mean, that was absolutely crazy. The Panda guys had a massive, massive support. I think it's fair to say, T, Panda kind of blew that one.
Oh, fair to say. Absolutely. There's no way OpTic Gaming should still be in this tournament, but regardless, they still are. Somehow they get it down to this round 11. And Karma played that 1v1 very strange, went into that back sort of corner of the map. In hindsight, very smart play because the player had not really enough time to search all the areas of the map, but oh, man.
Is anyone else trying to live with what Formal's saying?
I see you recording that in the background there, Momo. I mean, Formal getting up just saying choke. You choked, you choked, you choked, and you choked. They had a 5-2 lead, and somehow, some way, OpTic Gaming just refused to die. And that has been the story all of Championship Sunday so far for the Green Wall on that massive, massive journey through the losers bracket. Matt, I asked TP before, how long do you think that this magic is going to last?
I mean, who knows? It kind of reminds me, was it UGC Niagara lose round 1, and then what was our first match after that? It was a game 5 against like Nihil and them.
Yep.
I think we ended up winning it, and then it was like a game 5 against Vex.
Yep.
Next time, it's just like you start creating this magic game 5, game 5, game 5, and then by the time you get back on the stage, you just feel like it's all yours for the taking.
I feel like the worry for many of you look back in Call of Duty esports history is, though, too many game 5s can take so much out of you. Because bear in mind, as soon as you get to that grand final, you've got to win 2 other best of 5s. It's not like it's just one set. Team, are you maybe worried that they may run out of energy, or is there enough still left in the tank?
I mean, it's a factor, but I mean, let's be honest. How much do these players grind on a daily basis, right? True. They're used to playing this amount of time for sure. Yes, the matches are more stressful. There's a lot more on the line, but when you get a bunch of those wins in a row, especially coming off of a big Map 5 number win, which it could definitely happen right here.
Yep.
When you go on to the next match, you have such a momentum edge on your opponent. It's a confidence boost. Like Matt said, you know, like something's just going right with you on a given day. The COD gods are in your favor, I guess, whatever you want to call it.
It's a weird thing to explain. It's like you just kind of have this feeling like you have no kind of proof or whatever, but you just feel like you're just going to win.
And one more point. When you've played that many maps in a row, all those weak maps you may have had, you're learning a lot each time you play it on a different type of opponent. So that's definitely going to help them go.
The maps start to blur together. You just don't even remember what's going on.
Well, we can jump straight into our live look-in over on the Bravo stream. Of course, OpTic Gaming versus Luminosity. This a game 5. Loser goes home. It's the first round here in the Search and Destroy. Memo, I want to ask you a question, though, before we get into it. You doubted OpTic Gaming in Map 4. Are you still doubting them again in Map 5?
I think Luminosity needed to close it out in that hard point. I thought they would. They haven't, and now they've given OpTic Gaming
a lifeline.
Not only a lifeline, but they've given them the momentum. That's the problem, is OpTic Gaming, they go to these game 5s, they gain momentum, and it can be very, very dangerous, to say the least. And I think OpTic Gaming now, it's theirs to lose. I say that, you know, almost a little bit hesitant, but I mean, look at it. Straight away, round number 1, we've got slacked in a 1 versus 3.
It's quite funny that, like, at COD Champs, like, the reason this team did not kind of fulfill their destiny and end up winning is because of their poor search and destroy play. Their search and destroy play is what's kept them in this tournament as long as possible. I mean, it has not been stellar hardpoint play. It's not been lights out uplink play. It's been their S&D that's really carried them through.
Which is funny because you go back to Vegas even, and you look at their S&D and you're like, this has not been good. This has been bad. And everyone knows OpTic have gone back to the drawing board, so to speak. They've grinded out. They've improved their search and destroy a lot. And as you said, it shows. It really does show. Clutching up in these game 5s, Steve, it's not an easy thing to continuously do.
Oh, for sure. This many times in a row. But when you have someone like Formal shooting the way he is, early 3 kills for him, and you can see how confident he is. He separated himself from his team on purpose, and he's like, oh, I see you, I'm going to challenge you, I react faster, and he hits every bullet.
And from what I'm seeing just in all these like shots and whatnot, and it seems like Formal's kind of turned into the leader, where he's just kind of like, he's putting the most time to this game, like he's just tired of listening to everybody else and racking up L's. He's like, listen, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to play, and it seems to be working.
well, he's 3-0 now, so he's doing something right. And the one thing that I say is, with OpTic Gaming, a nice, quick, easy round, I would say there. Straight away, you get that 5th player, you get the crowd. OpTic Gaming, that green wall is stood behind them. We can feel it from here. I mean, you guys at home probably hear it as well. But they feed off that. The likes of Formal, when he hears that, he gets 3 in one round. Oh, Formal, you don't want to do that. You don't want to give him that. Luminosity, right. They're giving it to him.
It's only going to make him better, that's for sure. And just kind of building off Matt's point, Teep, we've heard Formal communicating on what feels like another level. Like, we've heard him from the studio, put it that way. He's very, very loud. Do you think he is kind of turning maybe more into that shot caller now for OpTic Gaming?
Not sure if it's shot caller or just trying to get the energy going. Formal's been probably the loudest person, which you're not really used to on this team. Usually the calm and collected one. But I guess if I was playing an event like Formal is right now, I'd probably be screaming like crazy, too.
Oh, it's hard not to, right? You're having a fantastic, fantastic event. Unfortunately, though, for the Green Wall in this round, it will be a 4 versus 2 in favor of Luminosity. Make that now a 1v3. Crim falls tied 1-1. Matt, overall, how do you see this map finishing out?
I think, obviously OpTic, they have the strong S&D play coming into this. Luminosity, it's really what they worked on after Vegas, too. I mean, their search and destroy was pretty poor at Vegas. They come back, they completely retool. So this one's a very difficult one to kind of predict. I do want to say, picking back on TP's point, it's like when you're the overwhelming favorite, everyone's telling you the best team in the game, you go through pools, you can kind of coast through a little bit, and then you get that first round game, and it's hard to kind of get that sense of urgency or kind of feel like in the moment like how important it actually is. I think that's what Formal's really trying to do for these guys, is make them realize the actual moment they're in right now, how important it is, and to really focus up.
Obviously, in Vegas, regarding Luminosity, we criticized them quite heavily about their search and destroy play. very, very similar to OpTic Gaming, ironically enough. And they've done the same thing, right? They've improved their search and destroy play. We were very, very impressed early on in the tournament with how much they were clutching up and how comfortably they were taking their search and destroys. I mean, what is going to be going through their mind now, TP, going up against OpTic Gaming in this Game 5? How do you think those players are going to be feeling?
I think all players in this game are really confident, to be honest. Both deserve to be here, obviously, but both teams won a championship. Both teams playing this sort of similar, a confident style, grouping up and taking those gunfights over towards that bike street right there. And it just seems like the long-range play, a nice flank from Crim right there, catching 2 players in the back. For a second there, I saw Slacked behind enemy lines, and I thought he was going to be able to make the play, but traded out. Seems like OpTic is just a little bit faster in reacting to those in-game situations.
And it's funny, speaking to a bunch of these players when I got here, who's putting the time in, who's not. Everybody pretty much gave me the same thing. The teams that have scrimmed the most coming into this event were United, Envy, Luminosity, OpTic, and FaZe. Those are all teams in your top 5.
Weird how that worked.
Yeah.
Put in the practice, you get the results. Who would have thought?
I'm shocked.
It's crazy. It really is. Of course, this is a losers round 7 matchup. Loser will be eliminated from the CWL Atlanta Open. The victor, they have a Team EnVyUs awaiting for them in the losers bracket final. And of course, United, the surprise team, kind of the breakout team, if you will, from this event at least, waiting for them in the grand final, should either squad get there. For now, though, OpTic Gaming with that 2-1 round lead. And in terms of this round specifically now, Momo, which way are you leaning here?
I mean, they've got the bomb down. It's 3v2. Well, as I say, that OpTic Gaming looking strong. It's going to be evened up, though. But OpTic, they should have, the favored side here. It's going to go down to another 1v1. It's going to be OpTic Gaming, this clutch, and I want to highlight, we've talked about Karma. Crim6 is 7-1.
Yep.
I actually think, I can't believe I'm saying this, we've somewhat overlooked Crim6 in, our overlook thing. We've talked about Formal, we've talked about Karma. Crim6 now, he's turning up when he needs to be, and this is what reminds me of kind of that Cole era where, Game 5...
Lose the Crim.
he just kind of turns up, and he's not necessarily kind of roaring out there or going crazy. He's just doing what he does best.
And that's a scary Crim6, right, Tipa? When you're going up against a player like that, you have to shut him down immediately.
It's just so reminiscent of old Crim, to be honest, and I love to see it. Slow, methodical play, pre-aiming a lot. He's very good at positioning himself in this line of sight, and for some reason, he just always catches the edge, just a little bit of a faster strafe, a little bit of a faster shot, and just gets the better edge of it. He's 7-1 right now. Looks like he's going to be, getting close to these score streaks as well, so LG needs to be a little bit careful. Yeah,
Luminosity are definitely going to have to find an answer to Crim6 right now, as it sounds he's almost just running riot here in this Game 5 search and destroy. Have you been impressed at all, Matt, by Luminosity, though? Are they staying as composed as you would like?
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of these rounds, like Momo was saying, have come down to 1v1 scenarios. So you see First Blood there, going to go in favor of LG, and they get bombed down. So I think LG has improved greatly since Vegas.
We'll have to wait and see if they're going to be able to close out this round, though. Of course, the bomb did go down now. They forced a 3 versus 3 situation. Of course, it's fitting to have Crimsix on your screen, sitting at 8-1. I mean, he's having a fantastic map right now. But, Momo, can the Green Wall close out this round?
This is really well played by Luminosity. They've got the bomb down, they've retracted their back to their base, and they can just get the line of sight. It's all about just stopping that one player defusing. They've done that. This is perfect play from Luminosity. They got the first blood, and this was a must-win round for me. 3-2 and 4-1. Those are that's that one round in Search and Destroy. I always say it's critical to come back.
And they get Krim off those streaks there. So Krim, he has his payload ability, and he was still working on those score streaks. So they end that. So it's a very good round for LG.
Very good round indeed, as you mentioned. No more streaks there for Krim, but still has the hot hand there. And I guess my question for you, Teep, is how do you play those rounds? When a team does get the bomb down and they back off, what is the best way of winning those rounds?
Group up and flank instantly. To be quite honest, they just took too much time trying to take those gunfights. This is not gunfights LG is even trying to take. They're trying to just stall out time for as fast as possible, or as long as possible, sorry. So I feel like Krim made a bit of a mistake there. He's pretty close to those score streaks. I think instead of just taking his time at the top window, maybe just back it down and playing for his streaks. But, you know, it's such a hindsight call. Who knows?
All right. Karma currently sitting at 0-4, though, for OpTic Gaming. Matt, well, actually, as I say that, he finds his first pick. Perfect. Coming in from Karma, of course, 1-4 does fall, though. Is there anything specific about Karma's playstyle that you're looking at, Matt, and you're thinking, I'm not sure if that's the right play?
Not really, because, I mean, he's the one that this team is, you know, kind of putting in, like, the worst situations to fight out of.
Right.
So you never expect his stats to be incredible in Search and Destroy. You know, he's going to be the bomb guy some of the time. He's going to try and get out into those positions, get bombed down. Like, he's not going to be in position to go off.
Yeah, one thing as well, I just want to point out, Scump just made a huge play there. Yes, it's only 1 kill, but it's the fact he stayed alive. It was a 3v2, now a 2v2. Scump's just opened this game wide up. They could take this round.
Gunfight going down, but Slack, the trade's going down. Scump and Formal, you can't take out both of them in a 2v2, and it showed right there. I thought Scump was going to miss some shots on that first guy, but nope. Scump snaps on very quickly.
And once again, you have Formal getting up, getting loud, high fives. Again, we can hear him from the studio right now. He is really turning into a bit of a beast here on Championship Sunday, but that's the Formal that you kind of expect on Championship Sundays.
Yeah, he's a prideful guy. I mean, he does not want to go out of these tournaments early. He is only here to win. Doesn't care about anything else, so you expect him to kind of rally the troops when it looked like that may not happen.
He definitely didn't come for a weekend trip in Atlanta. He's definitely focused on one thing, of course, and that is that CWL Atlanta trophy. As it stands, OpTic Gaming 4-2 up. Luminosity looking to try and make a play here. Of course, Saints with his streak out. Momo, what's going through Saints' mind here?
I mean, he's trying to get some intel. He gets the intel, but it's not really going to reflect. It's not going to help them that much. But one thing it has done is told it OpTic Gaming, this is where we are and this is our plan. And Classic's going to pay the price for that. Karma, though, he gets his second kill on the board. He is actually trying to back off, caught off guard. Crimsix, fantastic trades. Love this about OpTic Gaming is they trade so efficiently. We saw it in the previous round at the end. We're seeing it again here in round number 7.
Krim always seems to find himself in a fantastic position just to find those trades. Of course, still 4 rounds to 2. Quick look over to Formal's perspective. Back over to Octane. Of course, the bomb now has been punted. Teep, you're nodding your head. You like that play?
I like the overdrive there. Overdrive to get next to your teammates. They're in a 3 versus 2 situation. All you need to do is group up and take gunfights wherever they're positioned at. Scump, oh my gosh, I can't believe he stayed alive right there. That's absolutely huge. Octane now stuck in a very tough situation.
I love that as well. It was like he stayed alive, and then you saw both of them. 2 players from OpTic just push so heavy. And it's all about teamwork. No one went solo. No one went for the hero play. OpTic Gaming, that was crucial. It's Scump staying alive. Like, I'm not sure. I'm not even going to give Scump the benefit of the doubt there. I think that was maybe a little bit of sloppy shooting from the player of Luminosity. But this is the complete opposite of what we saw against Panda. OpTic were 5-2 down against Panda. Now they're 5-2 up. Last map against LG.
I mean, you have to feel like they have a ton of confidence now, right, Matt? Surely OpTic Gaming close this out and push through to the losers bracket final.
It's going to be tough for LG. I mean, the crowd around them's into it. No, for the side of OpTic Gaming, they got a lot against them right now. But, I mean, you're able to take this around the defensive end. Maybe you kind of, you know, you can go back towards that silo side on offense, make something happen, get your way back into it.
Potentially. Of course, as we said, OpTic Gaming 5-2 up. Teep, again, you're violently shaking your head. You love that play.
I'm shaking I'm nodding of approval because I saw them make a mistake earlier in this tournament where they had a Centurion and they didn't go for a quick plant. But this time they're just super confident. They do it right away. They have to LG has to worry about that payload. Gunfight's going down back and forth, but you can see Saints affected by that payload just a little bit before it's taken out. Gunfight's going down back and forth. It's even numbers, and Saints is going off right now.
Saints just disrespecting He just read straight up Formal. Doesn't care who it is. And now you have yourself a 2 versus 2 situation. Octane and Saints up. Of course, this is LG's tournament life. They need to hunt down Scump and Karma. Saints last man up, 11 seconds. The time is ticking. Will Saints be able to do it? No, he will not. And OpTic Gaming somehow, some way, stay alive again here at the CWL Atlanta Open. The fairy tale continues for the Green Wall. It doesn't look like they're going to get beat anytime soon. However, up next, they have to go through Team EnVyUs. Is this where it stops, Steve? Is this where Team Envy finally put their foot down and say, no, no more Green Wall, this is our house?
We've talked a lot about the magic for OpTic Gaming. That wasn't any magic. That was just them playing very consistent and good team Call of Duty and Search and Destroy, grouping up, getting numbers, knowing when to stay alive, knowing when to watch each other's back, and I think that's largely due to Krim in that one. He was using that NV4, playing a little bit further back, and then knew when to switch it up to a K-bar and play a little bit more aggressive. Yes, they're putting Karma in these unfavorable situations, but they always got the trade on him, and that's the difference. Yeah,
as long as they keep getting the trades on Karma, I don't think he minds playing that position. They beat a very good Luminosity team. Luminosity looked great at this tournament. Slacked was amazing in the respawn game modes. Going in against Envy, they've already lost Envy in this tournament, but they're a completely different team that played against Envy the other night. I think it's going to be a very close series, probably a Game 5.
Yeah, and for me, touching on what Matt said there, two different completely teams. OpTic Gaming, 2 Game 5 wins. Formal, he just looks fierce. Every time he wins, he's telling them, get out, get out. This is my tournament, and that's what I love about it. And EnVyUs, they've come off a big loss against the United. They lost against them in pools. They're probably thinking, we were on a real good run here. And, they're found in loser bracket. It's, I'd say, a very hot OpTic against maybe a bit of a cold Envy now. So
a tepid.
Yeah, a mild warm.
A quick point to note on as well is OpTic was sort of making some excuses yesterday for the long wait. Now the roles are reversed in that sense when they're playing against Envy again. So now's their time to get that redemption.
Yeah, no excuse now.
Definitely very true. Championship Sunday here at the CWL Atlanta Open has not disappointed. Let's just say it that way. It's been just a thrilling, thrilling day. For now, though, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we return, it's the Losers Bracket Final.
one. Let's see if he can find the fourth. Give me the ace, baby. There it is.
We're having a blast here. It's Championship Sunday at the CWL Atlanta Open. And man, I think it's fair to say I could be a top player in Europe after clips like that.
No. just no. I don't think that gameplay there does not warrant anything. Top player anywhere.
Hey, man, let a man dream. Let a man dream.
I'm only joking. I mean, that quad was okay. I'll give you that one. The Ninja defused as well.
Thank you. Oh, that A to Z. Fantastic video. But moving forward, of course, talking about dreaming, as I once dreamed I could be a professional player, OpTic Gaming currently keeping their dream alive, running through the losers bracket. Speaking of the losers bracket, let's take a look and just update everyone on exactly where we're at. Of course, coming up next on the main stage, it's MLG Primetime losers bracket final. We have the El Clasico, the E Clasico, whatever you want to call it, Team EnVyUs versus OpTic Gaming. That's going to be our losers bracket final here at the CWL Atlanta Open. You look how both teams got here. I mean, we see OpTic Gaming clutch up in Game 5. They 3-1 phase. They clutch up in Game 5 against Panda 3-2. They beat Elevate as well in round 4, 3-1. I mean, yeah, you have to give these guys a lot of credit for the run, but I have to ask again, Teep, is this where the run stops? We saw these two teams face off in winners bracket round 1, and Team EnVyUs had their number in every way, shape, and form.
A little bit different of a storyline this time. OpTic Gaming on an obvious run, a lot of games going under their belt today. My question is, have they fixed the issues from when they played EnVyUs last night in the winner bracket, right? It seems like it. It seems like the link in S&D extremely strong for OpTic, but there's obvious glaring issues in hardpoint, and EnVyUs can realistically pick you apart. But EnVyUs has been waiting around for a little while. Is that going to come into play for map 1?
And Memo, how difficult is it to adapt mid-tournament to your mistakes, especially when you're playing against a team that had previously beaten you already?
I think if you've got that loser bracket run behind you, if you've got a chance to play maybe 2 series and learn from it, you can adapt. But if you come off a loss, for example, Envy now, they've come off a loss against United, and they may be thinking, we made a lot of mistakes in that game. They can't really just adapt a click of a finger. They can't do that. They've got to go into this and kind of use the same strategy as they beat OpTic the first time. But I do think we're going to see a different OpTic this time than we did the previous matchup.
Fair enough to say. Chance, your predictions this weekend have been pretty spot on. I'll give you a lot of props for that. How are you leaning in this loser bracket final?
Well, I think it's more important to look at who I think will stack up better against E-United, who I'd rather see. E-United's had 2 opportunities to play EnVyUs. They've beaten them both times. So, I mean, if Envy goes through and faces them again, do I really think they're going to have anything different to offer them? And then, of course, they're going to have to win 2 best-of-5s, and they haven't done it once yet. And OpTic Gaming, of course, yes, their hardpoint's been weak, but that's E-United's strong suit anyway. They're looking good against everybody in that category. So you're looking to take them down on search and destroy, and you're hoping to take them down in uplink. And, well, that's what OpTic Gaming has been doing this entire tournament so far. So in terms of the matchup, we saw it yesterday. Envy might have OpTic Gaming's number, but still, I think an OG versus E-United final would be a better match.
Of course, Team EnVyUs are current world champions. They had a lot of flack, especially after the last event, and people saying, maybe Team Envy split up, and that led, of course, to the discussion of the COD Champs curse. We've seen it time and time again. Teams that win that world championship often split up a couple of months afterwards, maybe things not really going their way. Let's find out a little bit more about the curse.
Speaking of the Champs Curse, when you look at Impact, this is a team that won Champs Black Ops 2 2013. 3 months later, they've already broken up. There are problems internally. The team may be fighting. Team chemistry is not there. Whatever the issue, this Champs team has fallen apart.
Now, after we saw Impact fall apart after Black Ops 2, it was Complexity's turn after they won the Call of Duty Ghost COD Champs. This is a team that was one of the best in Call of Duty history. They started to get a little bit too confident, a little bit too cocky.
We're going undefeated this entire year. I love my team. We're the best team in the game. No one's going to touch us at all.
They suffered from some internal team struggles, and they ultimately fell to the COD Champs curse.
The most recent example of where we've seen this curse really come into play was the old Denial roster back in Advanced Warfare. Clayster, Attach, JCap, and Replays. Not many people thought they would actually win Champs. Well, they take it, but then they lose every event they go to. They break up within 2 months. All sides are pointing towards a potential similar circumstance to this NV team.
You can talk about the Champs curse all you want, but let's be honest, it's BS, and it's just a few fun facts that are fun to throw together. Envy, realistically, they got off to a slow start, and for good reason. Apathy just got married. They didn't have as much time in the game as they wanted, but now everyone's back. They're focused. They're on the grind, and they know that they're behind in pro points. Atlanta is going to be a huge tournament for them. They have to finish in the top 8 or even higher if they want a chance of getting into the Big 9 that will advance into Stage 1 of CWL.
As you heard, Chris Puckett, our colleague, having absolutely none of the COD Champs curse. Well, I have a world champion on the desk, so it's only fair to ask. Teep, is it real? Is there a curse, you think, or is it all just, made up stats?
It's made up stats for sure. Usually when something like that happens, there's glaring issues within the team that either A, go unresolved for an extended period of time, or a player or a few just aren't playing up to the caliber. And esports is very competitive in general. It happens sometimes where someone can go on a bad streak of just not playing great.
You also kind of have to think about how often did rosters break up and switch back in the day. Roster mania was like almost an everyday occurrence after every event. It would just get wild with all the teams switching places. Pretty much since the start of Black Ops 3, occasional roster changes here and there, but certainly nothing too substantial. I mean, this OpTic gaming team has been together since AEW. EnVyUs been around for a long time. Like, all of these top teams phase again since AEW. So it's been years since we've had a major roster apocalypse.
Very true, very true. Mamo, you a COD Champs curse believer? Do you believe the curse is real?
I'm with Teep and Maeve, and I think it's complete BS. I don't agree with it at all. I think one thing that you can do is maybe get a little bit complacent. If you win a tournament and maybe slack off and be like, yeah, we just won. We can take a week off, but that's when teams catch you up, and that's where the likes of Complexity, obviously in their day, they didn't do that. They just carried on. That's why they won tournament after tournament after tournament. And I think I want to compare it to a team of a previous champion, but the likes of Rise, they kind of went out early this tournament. I don't think they kind of stepped off or thought they were the best almost, but I think teams or players, individuals can definitely get complacent.
With all that said, do you feel like this is a Team EnVyUs squad who could actually stick this out? Could they be the first team to theoretically go back-to-back? Is that something which is realistically a possibility?
100%, especially with how we see how well they're playing. It seems like each of these all-star players on the lineup take turns going off, and that's exactly, it's a formula for success, right? One person can't go off every single game and have a superstar performance, but when you have multiple people that have the potential to do it on a consistent basis, it kind of relieves the pressure from some of the other star players. So with their makeup, with how well they've performed against elite talent in Call of Duty in general, they had one bad tournament. There's no reason to even have that talk right now about them breaking up. The fact that that was even brought up is a little bit silly to me.
Of course, they responded with that kind of poor performance, which, they had other variables, such as apathy, getting married. Of course, a lot of people know that now. They've responded very well. Of course, they're here in the losers bracket final, trying to get back into that grand final. They played very, very well. They played OpTic Gaming already in this tournament, and they beat them. They made it look simple. It looked as if they just knew everything OpTic Gaming was going to do. They played cool, calm, collected. They didn't panic at all. Are you expecting a different OpTic Gaming this time, Chancellor? Is this an OpTic Gaming now with all that losers bracket momentum? Are they going to come here and potentially find themselves in another grand final?
Again, I think it's kind of like when they played FaZe. I think the maps really have to go their way for them to have a pretty good opportunity of this. Again, Envy had their number in pretty much every game, if I remember correctly. It was a pretty easy victory for them overall. Now, of course, main stage, the most pressure on the line, OpTic Gaming, they definitely come to play. They've been dealing with the pressure for 4 or 5 rounds in a row now, and they've come out on top every single time. So they certainly certainly have quite a bit of momentum in their favor. And again, I don't know, EnVyUs is going to be strong mentally, but still, even if they go into that finals, they're going up against a brick wall in United, where again, I think OpTic just has a better chance.
Of course, we mentioned John as well, playing with a broken middle finger, and somehow, some way, still playing out of his mind. Very reminiscent back to the AW Columbus Open, where Aix obviously famously cut his hand. He was playing with a hand injury almost, and he managed to win that event. Maybe it's a theme. Players that pick up hand injuries somehow win events. We'll have to wait and see, of course, on that one. But in terms of Crimsix's moment, he was a player that you highlighted in that last series, and you said he was playing out of his mind. Is he someone, again, you're looking at in this series specifically?
Yes. He looked like the old Crimsix when we saw him in that previous game. When we saw Crimsix on the main stage against EnVyUs last time, it was just, I would say, a 75% Crimsix. It wasn't the Crimsix we just saw. So he's going to be going into this super confident. Yes, he's always super confident, but I think deep down, sometimes you will be, feeling a little bit more. And I think going into this, they've come off 2 Game 5 wins. They've got to be going into this and going, you know what, Envy, you took us last time. It ain't happening again. I think, and this isn't saying me thinking OpTic Gaming will win, but I think OpTic Gaming are going to make this much, much harder for EnVyUs.
You definitely make a serious argument. Crimsix, one of the best players ever to play Call of Duty, even not the best player in Call of Duty. So with that said, let's take a little bit of time to learn a little more about Crimsix.
The thrill of victory has become quite familiar over time. And nobody knows it as well as I do. The money, the fame, the feeling. They say it's more difficult to stay on top than it is to get there. The thing is, I've been on top for years. I've always approached situations with one idea in mind, that I will do anything I need to do to win. Over time, I've watched veterans fall, old teammates turn into rivals, and new players entering the spotlight. I've won under different organizations, with multiple teams, and at tournaments across the globe. Yet the pressure to win is even greater than it was before. There will always be those who attempt to take my title, but there's only one thing stopping them. I'm not done yet.
Shout out to all of the production team here at MLG Atlanta. That is a fantastic piece, and obviously you hear from Crimsix there, he is not done winning yet. Those videos are a fantastic insight and look into a lot of our players. Sadly, didn't get to use all of them. We definitely have some stored, that's for sure. But in terms of this next matchup, the losers bracket final, OpTic Gaming versus EnVyUs. I'm going to go down the line before we get this one underway. Momo, predictions.
OpTic Gaming 3-2.
3-2.
I think we're going all the way. This is going to be one hell of a series.
Okay, bear in mind, of course, Team EnVyUs did beat OpTic in winners bracket round 1. Chance, which way are you going?
EnVyUs 3-1.
You're going for, that was the same score as last time, I believe, was it not?
I can't remember.
Maybe the 3-0 or 3-1, but either way, you're saying EnVyUs.
I fully believe in the loser bracket run momentum, OpTic 3-1.
OpTic 3-1, of course, is a player who's no stranger to those loser bracket runs. You've done them famously before, and you've won events from those loser bracket runs. Is the loser bracket run dream still on for OpTic Gaming? For now, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we return, though, it's losers bracket final, OpTic Gaming versus Team EnVyUs. It's prime time here at the Call of Duty World League presented by the PlayStation 4. Of course, we're here at the CWL Atlanta Open. On the main stage next, it's the losers bracket final. Team EnVyUs versus OpTic Gaming. Team EnVyUs already beaten OpTic Gaming once this tournament. OpTic Gaming looking for sweet revenge and trying to keep that losers bracket run alive. For now, though, we can send it down to our casters for the game.
Thank you so much, Benson. It's Courage and Puckett backstage, and we're ready to bring you the action. Atlanta, are you ready? That's what I like to hear.
Oh, they're getting into it, and I sure as hell am too. What a match we have again. We talked about the last couple times we saw those teams in Envy and OpTic in a championship winners bracket matchup, which was earlier this weekend. OpTic Gaming lost 3-1. Back at Champs, they lost 3-1. Now, they've beaten FaZe after 2 years on LAN. Maybe they do it again here against Envy in the losers bracket final.
OpTic Gaming has had such a long road through the losers bracket, and one of the key players getting them through this has been their star in the hard points. Let's take a look at Scump. He is coming in with a 1.08, going up against some of the toughest competition in the venue today. But on the other side, it's your 2016 World Championship MVP, John, who just is dropping all kinds of numbers, a 1.15 overall.
Oh, and John's continued to do that so far today, but I will say he's had some inconsistent starts to some games for Envy. We saw that earlier in that winners bracket final when they faced eUnited. Here we go, though. The rematch many people are excited about. It does not get better than this. OpTic Gaming versus Envy. Winner is in the grand finals. Loser is going home.
And it's time to kick things off with our first hard point. We are going to Scorch. John, we talked about him having a few slow starts, but he was the one who put the final nail in OpTic's winners bracket coffin. Will he be able to get off to another hot start? I'll be honest, the player I'm really watching in this match is Apathy. I haven't seen a bad game from the man yet. Even in their loss to eUnited, he was at the top of the leaderboard amongst all players. Let's take a look at our kickoff. It's going to be Scump charging right to the center of this bridge. They're set up first. The nades flying everywhere. Who's going to draw first blood? It looks like Karma is going to be dropped first.
Yeah, someone does die to one of those grenades as they flew all over the place. Envy will get the first seconds on the board. A map like Scorch, though, coordinated play is so key to get the breaks, obviously, towards that back turbine hard point in that top hangar area. And somehow JCap has snuck behind 3, cleans those up with ease as your 2-time Call of Duty champion. JCap gets it done.
In the last match I cast from Envy, I pointed out, keep your eyes on JCap. For this first game, he is going to be arrow number 6 on that mini-map, constantly finding opponents on the flank. He has been a thorn in everybody's side today. Slasher, though, the hottest start out of all players, 5-2, picks up another one there on Formal, and he is going to be splitting the defense, slipping behind 2 players on the rotation.
So far today, Formal has been one of the most aggressive players in those final moments as you just see him get up out of his seat, yell across to his opponents that he is knocked out of these losers bracket games. He's been lights out right now, 0-4, 0 seconds in the objective. That first hill didn't work out for him, but I'm sure he'll pick it up for OpTic Gaming now as they're down by about 5 seconds.
Yeah, he just picked up his controller. He's ready to game, and we will see what he can do. Envy trying to flood through. They're sending 3 players through the tight show. Karma is there, finds 2. The pre-fire, can't find the third. Formal will get it, but unfortunately, there's one last man challenging here, stopping OpTic from scoring. It's going to be Apathy.
But Formal knows he's got his teammate in Crim6 right behind him. OG will hold onto the hard point as Karma out to 7-3. He's the one leading his team in time, leading his team in kills. We've seen multiple clutch moments from him so far today, and now he's triple positive in game 1.
You know, I heard some rumors that Karma seemed off his game on Friday. Some whispers yesterday. Today, he is trying to silence all of the haters. 9-3 on a 2 streak to open this one up. OpTic Gaming out to a 22-point advantage, and they already are set up here for hangar control.
And this is a great sign for OpTic Gaming. The only thing that kind of stinks for them, they don't have the spawns. They wind up sending 4 players towards that top sky bridge, and Apathy stays towards the back of the map alive long enough so his teammates can help push in towards this hill. But now look, he's surrounded by green arrows. Another break for OpTic Gaming. They're now up to a 30-second lead. lead.
Crowd's getting fired up here in Atlanta. 11-3 is Karma on the 4th streak. Keep your eyes on him as he's working towards streaks. Meanwhile, Scump trying to get the cutoff. Finds one, traded out by JCap. Crim6 gets the call and will eliminate even more. Karma on your screen for the moment on a 5 streak, and he is just 100 points away from being fully streaked out.
And EnVy, they should give up this hard point. Karma's actually going to call in this Trinity Rocket right away. Going to see what he can do now to maybe clear out this new hardpoint drill area. 96-38 the score. Karma 1 kill away from earning himself another streak. OpTic Gaming, beautiful start to this one. Karma is lights out. One more off the bombardment.
And that was a very long engagement with Karma going up against Slasher there. Slasher spotted him in the doorway, had the better positioning. Karma just out shooting him. And Karma, I don't know how you stop this man. JCap, we talk about his 2 rings, but Karma was the first man in Call of Duty history to earn his. And we're going to see JCap now pressing in. There's 3 members of OpTic Gaming behind him. He is going to be swarmed. OpTic seems to be in total control here. This is absolutely the opposite of what we saw in some of the games from last night.
Yeah, EnVy are getting slaughtered at the moment. They just need to reset on the 2nd rotation, which is absolutely possible. Again, this is your Call of Duty World League champions in 2016. EnVyUs, if there's any team that can mount a comeback here, it is them. So do not count them out early. I will say, though, at the end of the 1st rotation, I am very impressed from what I saw from the green wall. Obviously, Karma, the one leading the charge.
And here comes JCap. The grenades pushing back Crim6, but Crim dodges the nades, picks up 2 kills instead. Formal on a flank is going to find another. So Formal, who had a very rough start, back in this one at 8-11. Karma staying on point at 13-6. And Crim6 is back on his game in Respawn. If they keep this up, EnVy is in trouble. Wow. You have to think EnVy's going to be the team favorite in the search and destroys, but I expected much closer series when it comes to these hard points, especially after watching OpTic struggle up against Panda.
OpTic are not missing a beat right now. They're filling every hole they need to and where the pressure can come from. They've got their teammates watching over Karma in the hard point. He has been unscathed in this hill for the last 30 seconds. Now up by 100. They are running away with this game, Puckett.
Karma gonna finally be dropped. It's JCap on the other side having the best game for EnVy, 17-13. We saw this earlier in their first loss in the winners bracket. Will they be able to bounce back now, though? It's looking dire, 168-58. You can't count them out completely, but this is looking like a bloodbath. The first fight gonna be won by EnVy. Is OpTic gonna be able to break in on their first push just like last time?
You need Crim6 to wait right now. That's exactly what he's gonna do. If you look at your minimap towards the bottom, everyone from OpTic now beginning to push on up. The Trinity Rocket gets called in. That's gonna force EnVy into awkward positions, and now OpTic look to capitalize. There's 2 kills. They go in for the trades down onto John, and look, he's getting flooded by everyone from OG, but a team kill from Crim6. It's not enough, though. OpTic with the break, back up by 100 seconds.
Great use of the score streaks there.
Absolutely. And he hovered it. He hovered it as well. So at the last moment, he drops down too quick and then leaves the last one waiting. OpTic push off of that. A very well executed play.
Karma still positive 10. On the other side, we talked about how good John and Apathy have been. These 2 players shut down. John, -4, Apathy, -7. They need to show up in this series if they want to head to their first championship match of 2017. Crim6 on your screen floating around, picks up one, spots another player, 3 EnVy members in front of him. Crim waiting for reinforcements. They're about to be pushing through the middle, and out comes the Scarab.
When's the last time you can remember John, Slasher, and Apathy being a combined -16 a few moments ago? Unlike them, and it reflects in the score right now. Thankfully, they do have some payloads to use. Obviously, JCap just earned that camo. Slasher, 1 kill off his. Maybe they can use that to swing them back in this game. I want to see OpTic Gaming, though, keep these well-coordinated plays in their favor. Don't just start rushing in. Don't start trying to make any sort of win happen. Do it the right way. Do what's been working for you throughout this game.
It's about a 65-point game, and this is the closest it has been in a while. So EnVy starting to rally back late in this one. They're going to be rotating first once again. Crim6 going to try and shut it down. The player in the backline was Apathy, and that kill is going to lock this in for OpTic Gaming. Despite the early rotation from Apathy, OpTic with the better positioning as a 4-man crew.
And remember, last time OpTic Gaming got towards this drill hardpoint, they held off the first 3 EnVy pushes before they even got 1 player near the hill. So far, they're at 1. they could seal the deal right now on this hard point or get very, very close. And look, 3 more kills come in. Envy just have no answer right now for OpTic Gaming.
Slasher was picked off as well, so
My
that's going to
goodness.
be all 4 players cycled out. You look at your mini-map. John is going to be on the flank, though. Number 7, that's going to be Slasher trying to push through the middle. JCap is forced to pop his payload. That's the active camo. Only picks up 1 there, and you're going to see Slasher clear it out, but there's just 16 points remaining here for Envy. OpTic Gaming, on the other hand, only needs 26 points to take our first game.
And you can tell JCap did not want to have to use his payload in that situation, but he can't afford to give OpTic Gaming those last 20-plus seconds. If he does, they're what, 5 away from winning the game? Now at least they have a chance if you're Envy. If maybe you're not early enough on a rotation, you can go for a quick break, and OG just can't win off that. But right now, all signs pointing towards an OpTic Gaming win as Crim6 lights up the kill feed. 3 right there, 25-13. They're just 10 seconds away from taking this victory. And oh my God, nobody can stop this man.
And I'm surprised Crim didn't even throw down the Centurion. Instead, he just wanted to keep the gun out.
It's his kid, right?
Slay everybody. 2 more points. Karma with the kill is going to break in, but Apathy is there to stop him. So the game not over yet. But Envy on their deathbed here in game number 1.
What can Envy even try to do? 248 to 163. All OpTic have to do is just set up for this new hard point, and this game is done, but they actually do spawn out. This is the entire game right here. Does Scump win this first gun engagement? No. So Envy will be... Oh, no! They leave the last hard point. They hop in. They sneak behind. I wasn't even paying attention. You can see
like, I got the 2 points, man.
Formal there laughing as well. Sneaks right in from behind. And there it is. OpTic take game number 1 in a very strong fashion.
Dummies didn't watch their back. Finished them off. Formal, though, they got off to the hot start. Crim6, great game, but it was Karma. Fantastic opening here for Karma here in a respawn. He's coming out swinging, just like we saw him on the main stage last time to close out their series. Karma performing extremely well against the biggest names, FaZe and now EnVyUs.
Scary stuff right there if you're an Envy fan. Remember, this is an elimination match. Here's a look at some of the highlights from that game 1. It started with JCap with that quick flank 3-piece. But really, that was about it for the Envy highlights in that map, as the rest of it was all Karma, all Crim6, and then Formal, when he began to wake up, made his voice heard as well.
I mean, you saw the drill hard point. You saw Karma just sitting in the middle of the mid-bridge for about 40 seconds at a time. Every time OpTic Gaming wanted to go for a break on an Envy setup, it seemed they just executed it flawlessly. Great crashing in as a 4-man squad. They're learning as they're playing throughout this tournament. We're seeing them adapt.
They most certainly are. Here's your hardpoint breakdown. And again, that turbine hardpoint makes such a difference. And you notice drill as well. Doubling the score of Envy was OpTic, and it all came down to rotating there early and holding off the Envy pushes from both sides of the map.
Crim6, 29 kills. It's going to be the most in the game. Almost a 2.0 KD. Plenty more Call of Duty to come, though. This is your losers bracket finals. Envy going up against OpTic Gaming.
The 2017 CWL season begins right now. Oh my God. Oh my God. Somehow finds the kill in the ugliest gunfight I've ever seen. Somebody stop this man. Do they go for the win? Oh my God. And this is the John Digger's gun. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the continued coverage of the Call of Duty World League Atlanta Open, presented by the PS4 Puckett and I, bringing you the matches here on Championship Sunday. And this is a great one. We have OpTic Gaming versus EnVyUs in your losers bracket final.
You know, I know that everybody in this venue loves OpTic Gaming. Even if you're an Envy fan, a lot of times you're cheering for OpTic Gaming. They've just been the fan favorites in this scene for so long. But I'll be honest, I now understand why OpTic has such a massive fan base. To watch what they've accomplished so far today is simply incredible. And now I find myself almost cheering for them to get revenge over Envy, who 3-1 them last night. But Envy, you can't count them out. That was a sloppy game one, though. We have to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was tough for them. They're obviously facing some formidable opponents as the bracket goes on. Makes a lot of sense. Because you got to remember, even if they do win this, they have to face eUnited again. That EnVyUs squad for the third time, and they're 0-2 this weekend in that matchup. On the side of OpTic Gaming, though, they're looking for revenge.
Absolutely. And if you do look at the Boys of Blue EnVyUs, you look at the teams that beat them, really just eUnited.
That's
so
it. That literally is it.
I'm really cheering for Envy here to get a chance to get redemption against eUnited, but I have a feeling what we would see in that championship match. So we'll have to see how everything plays out. JCap had a great start to game number one. What you need is those two guys right there, Apathy and John, to turn it on, and this is the game mode to do so. We talked about Envy's success. Where do they have it most, Jack?
In Search and Destroy. The only one they've dropped this weekend is in their last series to eUnited. It was that game too, and since then, we'll see what Envy can do in this game mode. And both these teams, John and Formal, have actually had two of the better snipers this weekend in the game mode of S&D. They're always getting those first bloods to their team. And it's going to be good to watch. Either way, I cannot wait to get into it. And after that, we got ourselves uplink.
Absolutely. So our players took a quick bathroom break. They're ready to go here in game number two. Any moment, we'll be kicking that one off. Players just talking to the refs before we begin here. As we look at this big picture, though, on day one, we announced it. $4 million on the line here this year in 2017 for Infinite Warfare at the Call of Duty World League. This is a big event in Atlanta. We have a bigger one coming up in Dallas. It's your last chance to earn pro points before stage one. And Envy, they were near the bottom of that bubble of North American teams who would get in based on pro points. After this event, I can't wait to see how far up they're going to jump in those seeds.
Oh, major move for them. And you also bring in the idea that they spent a lot of time scrimming prior to this one. They focused more on that, playing against the top teams, preparing themselves for this event to have this exact run. The leadership on Envy made that decision, and so far it's paid off, but they're not done yet. You know they have their sights set on this championship this weekend.
OpTic Gaming is looking like they'll probably finish in our top three in North America after this event. How high will they be able to jump? We're going to find out. They've already eliminated FaZe Clan. You saw them just knock out Luminosity. Now they're going up against Envy and potentially eUnited. But Envy, if they have anything to say about it, they're hoping to get some revenge here in the next three games. It all starts with Search and Destroy. We're going to be going to Throwback as our map. And when we look at this big picture, who do you give the advantage to?
Oh, it's tough to say. Both these squads have pretty similar play styles you can see on this map, where a lot of it revolves around one sniper trying to make a play happen, whether that's John or Formal, as I mentioned. The other thing, though, the pressure towards middle map, so key between these two squads. The NV4, very, very formidable weapon, as well as these long-range sight lines. And there we go. I just saw the game begin to get started on up, so we should be getting into the action here soon for game number 2 between OG and Envy.
John broke his middle finger. Uses that on his trigger. It's been hurting him throughout the weekend. Had a rough game number 1, but every time I point it out, he has a good comeback game. We'll see when he decides to turn up. JCap going over the strategy with Slasher before this game kicks off. Throwback, Search and Destroy, game number 2 here in the best of 5. If you're just joining us, these are two of the biggest names in Call of Duty history facing off once again on the main stage. In Atlanta, we see the rig draft kicking off here in just a moment. Are you ready for game number 2?
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't loud enough, I'll be honest.
Well, it wasn't loud enough? Should I try?
I think so.
What if they listen to me more than you? What's that going to say?
You are a very good up-and-coming caster.
All right, well, Atlanta, are you ready for game number 2? I win, Chris. I have something to tell you. It's over.
Who's cheering for OpTic Gaming? Cheap chat, I know. I know. All right, here we go. It's time to go into game number 2. And as we take a look at the rig draft, you are going to see basically a mirror match with 3 of the players. The difference here, once again, it's going to be the FTL jump chosen by Slasher. Formal, always used to run in that resupply with the overdrive.
Yeah, it makes sense for him to bring that one on out yet again. OpTic have some switches that they'll do in regards to payloads when it gets to uplink, but once we get there, we'll talk a little bit about it. Slasher with FTL jump yet again. I am so excited to get this one started. As you know, these are 2 of the best S&D teams. OpTic have been clutching up in this game mode time and time again today, and EnVy statistically this weekend right next to them.
I got my brother out in the crowd. He's sitting next to Hastro, sending me text messages saying they better tie this one up. We'll see if they can get it done. EnVy down 0-1 coming into game number 2, but this has been their bread and butter all weekend long. Just 1 loss in S&D, but it came today. Will they be able to get another big win? The A-bomb site, it's been the favored target for all of our teams throughout this tournament. A few plants at B, but really the action, it's going to happen right around that bridge.
Oh, definitely. And imagine making it all the way to Championship Sunday without losing a single map of S&D. Quite the stat line there for EnVy. You just got to commend them on that. It's time for game 2. Search and destroy on Throwback. OpTic Gaming versus EnVy is underway.
E-Rad in hand as well as the bomb. Apathy wants to get up close and personal here with the submachine gun, and you're going to see he and John taking out Scump. Crim6 is going to answer back, so it's still a 3-on-3, and Apathy has been called out.
Apathy most certainly has. You can tell the second he peeks that corner, there's fire down on him right away. Him and Slasher in a 2v3. He cannot go anywhere. He is pinned right now. Can't get out with his life. It's Formal cutting him down. There's a second as well. OpTic Gaming strike first.
No big surprise here to see defense winning in search and destroy, especially here on Throwback. But a phenomenal start. Crim6 immediately reacts, takes out John. You can see him in the round-ending kill cam as well. They had the bomb trapped. There was no escaping for Apathy, and it's OpTic Gaming starting this one up 1-0. But they'll have to be on the attack now, and we'll see which direction they decide to go. Will they give Formal a sniper rifle? And it looks like that is what is about to happen, Jack.
Well, let's see if he can make any flashy plays happen yet again. Spots 2 and doesn't wind up giving away what he has to work with. Smart decision by him, but there it is now. He's just been electric all weekend with it, Puckett.
3 down. Last man standing, Apathy. This would be a 1v4 clutch. Not going to happen today. 0-2. Formal feeling it with the sniper.
Formal has smiled more today than I think in the last 3 tournaments I've seen OpTic Gaming play.
It's very happy, Matthew Piper.
It is. It is.
OpTic fell short of their goals last time in Vegas. They finished 5th place there. EnVy finishing outside of the top 8. So very impressive performances bouncing back here in Atlanta for both teams.
Uh-oh. And this is what I was talking about. This is what the battle will be. John decides, you know what, Formal? I think I can match you, my friend. Let's see if he makes the right decision. This Formal's got his eyes on him.
Just a little high there. John didn't even see Formal until the last moment. He challenges, though, and he is going to be tagged up by Crim6, forced to back down. Crim, meanwhile, did pick up first blood. Scump is out of the action, though, for OpTic Gaming. So a 3-on-3. And John, he just has a feeling there's going to be pressure any moment.
Smoke's coming to play. Karma, though, with the entry onto JCap 2 versus 3. Remember, OpTic Gaming still have to defuse this bomb. Slasher cuts down 1. John just trying to stay behind his bus as much as he can, but when you've got a pistol as your secondary, that's not the spot you want to be in. Karma and Crim6 start off a combined 8-0.
Crim6 with the most kills in game number 1. Karma is the guy who started it all for this team. Both players having a great game number 2. Karma looks a little bit frustrated there.
No, I think it's just Karma being focused. They want this revenge so badly. Literally right now, you could basically do anything to try to distract them in the crowd, and they would not notice because they are so locked in.
I think what happened is Karma stole Crim's defuse, so Crim is not going to be that step closer to his streaks here. And Crim off the break is just going to try and stay alive. You see him taking a new positioning here as OpTic is on the attack. Crim watching a flank. Karma all the ready through the smoke is going to find Slasher.
Nice angle. He holds right there. Scout comes in and ooh, nearly kills him right there. That could have been a disaster as 2 players were stacked on that one. Now the flank from Crim6, some shaky shots, but does at least get one. Ooh, runs out of ammo. It's John by himself. He's gone. OpTic are wiping the floor with Envy at the moment.
They're in full plow mode right now, man.
Oh, they're eating today.
Dominant game number 1. Crim6 on the flank, finding 2 players, including his second round-ending kill cam of this game. 4-0 on throwback. Envy needs to turn it up right here. You have to stop it.
And what do you do? What do you even do when Karma and Crim6 are 11-0?
I was going to suggest going to B, but OpTic seems to have smelled this one coming from a mile away. 2 players set up on defense. Apathy is going to get first blood, though, so they have the advantage. JCap will fall. Scump with the 2-piece ties things up. Formal here with the 3rd. The 4th, not going to happen.
John and Scump, 1 versus 1. I think Scump knows where he is, but he sees a shadow. John, the clutch kill to keep Envy in this game. Instead of it being 5-0, it's now 1-4, and that's a little bit more reasonable if you're on the side of Envy.
The Sun giving away some positions here.
Ah, that's Sun.
Round number 6 coming up. It's going to be OpTic back on the attack. In theory, Envy should have the advantage on defense.
See what they can do. Again, Formal probably bringing back out that sniper, especially if you see that number 5 go towards the bus. That'll mean one thing and one thing only. How do OpTic play around it? They've been going for those quick plants this time around, though. Trying to spot out what they can before they focus on this objective.
Formal's going to call out 2 players, throws a grenade, hit markers will connect. Bomb still not planted, though, and that player 6 was Karma. He wanted to get aggressive. He is going to get chased down. Crim6 and Scump, though, answering back. Last man alive, Apathy.
Jeez, what do you even do here?
Get all 3 kills.
Yeah, right. Good luck. You're facing OpTic Gaming. Sees 1. Apathy does challenge. 1 versus 2. Has to wait for his health to come back before he can try to do anything. There's still a ton of time to do this. And there's actually, is there a trade on the side of OpTic Gaming right now? I'm not entirely sure with the positioning they had for a moment. Well, Apathy's going to take his time with this one. 28 seconds remaining. Still has to get this defuse.
And of course, Apathy, he has no idea where these players are located. We see the X-ray, but he had to check every single corner. Envy just didn't even challenge, it seemed like, on the bomb site. Karma was able to trade pretty efficiently, and then Scump and Crim6 picking up kills right away as Formal picks up your round-ending kill cam. OpTic now 1 round away from going up 2-0.
The vision over middle map has just been dominant for OpTic in this one so far. They've been able to push players wherever they want and punish Envy for playing a little bit more passive there on defense. Let's see what OpTic Gaming can do now in round 7. Do they close the door here?
John, pre-aim in that window. Player jumps out just as he looks away. Slasher does pick up Formal, though, so first blood for the boys in blue.
Nice challenge there by Slasher again to at least get 2, but Scump has that reactive armor, which we know how good he is with that payload ability. 2 versus 3. If Crim6 gets 1 more kill as well, he'll wind up earning his 2.
Crim6 rotating over to help out Scump. Scump challenging. Can't overextend here. He will get picked off by JCap. And here comes Scump. He gets away with the kill on Apathy. This is now a 2-on-2.
And this is just a sign of how confident Scump is right now. Reactive now used. Everybody's closing on in. Can JCap do it? No. Does Scump get there in time? 9 seconds left on the clock. I think he's done it. There's the high fives, and Scump signals to the crowd. He knows what he just did as OpTic are up 2-0. 1 map away from making it to the grand final.
We got people taking off clothes here in the crowd. There's a man in a tank top in February hanging out. It's getting rowdy here in Atlanta. 2-0 start for OpTic Gaming, and the crowd getting behind them. Envy, though, needs their fans more than ever. They're in the hole, back against the wall. You lose this next uplink, you are eliminated from the tournament.
You think of how OpTic Gaming start today, they have to go through that whole loser's bracket run. Everyone on that team saying, believe in us, believe in what we can do. They beat who? Elevate. They beat Panda in Game 5, Round 11. They wind up moving into their next series and take down FaZe, which I can't believe I forgot that about.
I got you.
Luminosity, another team that fell victim to them. And now potentially Envy. And then they still have to face E United in the grand finals if they make it and beat them not only in one best-of-5, but 2 if they want to take the title.
And not only that, if you watched the games last night, you just saw what Envy did to OpTic Gaming. So to be up 2-0, you are just one step away from sweet, sweet revenge. Some of the highlights here, I mean, you had a few flashes of brilliance, some nice snipes coming through. Apathy tried his best running around with the E-Rad, but OpTic Gaming, they are just all clicking right now. No one seems to be missing. Their trades were absolutely on point all 7 rounds.
Obviously, I want to see this go to a Game 5, but with how OpTic Gaming are playing at the moment, I just don't know if it's going to be possible, Puckett. They look so confident in their abilities right now. They're all smiles, too, which is another big thing for me in this series. They're in such high spirits. It's interesting to see.
Precinct Uplink going to be our next game mode. Have you seen much Precinct from these 2 squads?
I can't basically just speak to these 2, but I've watched a lot of it this weekend. You've seen certain teams, for example, EnVyUs being one of them, that actually will try to push towards that bottom cherry blossom side, bring the drone around gas,
right,
and go for a little bit more of a unique type of play. Most teams don't go for that type of push, as it can absolutely backfire very badly if you lose some gun engagements and spawn out in your back statue. But it's simple for both these teams. They know exactly how it needs to be played. It's just going to come down to who can outslay their opponent, in my opinion.
Envy needs someone to catch fire. Someone needs to set the tone, get score streaked out early, and just keep the momentum in their favor. Because right now, you look at them on stage, there's 0 smiles.
Yep.
There's very little communication.
I think you need Slasher. He went on Twitter after that last series. Some complaints about, what he was playing, how it was going. I just need to see him back in this match. I need to see the Slasher that beat OpTic Gaming back at the AW Open alongside Aches in the grand final.
Envy fans, they need you now more than ever. Make some noise.
I third 3 people.
We're going into game number 3. You see the rig draft on the big screen.
It's tough when even Envy fans are doubting their team right now. And you got to be thinking that with how the series has looked. Envy haven't bounced back yet from that tough loss to E United earlier today.
My producer said, "Nice try, Chris."
Hey, you gave it your all.
Can't get him going, Jack. My brother and Hastro clapping together. Here we go. It's going to be active camo in the hands of Karma, JCap as well. The Centurions at the top will be John and Formal in this one as the overdrive goes to Crim 6 when they play Uplink.
Again, as you see, they swap those roles, give Formal the trophy drone. You wind up swapping on over to Crim with that overdrive. Makes a lot of sense as we get into Game 3. Precinct Uplink. Envy, 1 map from being eliminated. OpTic Gaming, 1 map from being in your grand final here at the CWL Atlanta Open, presented by the PS4. We hope you've been enjoying MLG Primetime. We hope you've been enjoying Championship Sunday, because I know one thing for sure, I certainly have. We're getting into game number 3. Chris, predictions, is this done here?
Yep. I'm calling it now. I'm still cheering for a Game 5, but honestly, I don't know how you stop this OpTic Gaming team at this moment. They are hot. They have been playing all day long. Talking to Scump about his loss to Envy last night. He said, "We were cold, man. We played at 2 o'clock. We didn't play till the end of the night." Today, they have been warm all day long. They've gone to some Game 5 round 11s, but they've been able to power their way into this loser's bracket final.
Another funny thing that Scump brought up as well is he was so hungry to win this championship from the loser's bracket. He says he's never done it before in his career. He wants to do it now. It's a road that he's never really traveled before, but so far he looks quite comfortable on it.
He's starting off 3-0 at this checkpoint, and you're going to see the challenge. It's Apathy jumping in by himself. 3 members of OpTic Gaming waiting for him. Drone is down, but the kills keep coming for OpTic. Crim 6 trying to flank around.
Wow.
Formal is going to try and do the same. And these 2 teams are just trading back and forth right now. No total control, no objective movement yet.
Yeah, they're just flying at each other at all sorts of different angles. Again, you see Envy, instead of taking that drone and resetting it right away, try to push it down towards that restaurant side, give themselves any opportunity to make a play. Now, though, with those couple of kills, they might be able to make something happen. 3 now dead for OpTic Gaming for the moment. Apathy moving up with the drone. He's got a 1-point throw. There it is. Envy on the board first.
Crim 6 did pick up 2, so that is going to allow OpTic to get out of their base. John, the last member alive near OpTic Gaming spawn, is going to spot 2, and now he's on the flank, picks up 1, challenging the second. It's Formal who outguns him. Apathy is there to trade out Crim 6. So 3-on-2 here, make it 3-0. Everybody dead. Envy's going to go for at least another 1-point play.
Again, JCap will clear out this lower street side. The goal for Envy here, not to get one score, but many scores. The interception, though, from OpTic Gaming will stop that one from going in, and Scump and crew clear out their base. OpTic Gaming now on the offensive.
Karma's going to lead the charge around this right side. Unfortunately, he is going to be met by John. Scump rerouting, goes through the middle, watches another teammate get gunned down. That time it was Formal. Crim6 is going to pick off John, but both players know they have to just stay alive, wait for reinforcements, then push as a 4-man crew.
What does Scump do here? He's got a lead blocker, but unfortunately John is ready for him. Reads him like a book. Crim6 sneaks in from behind. 2 players on Envy. Through the cherry blossom tree. Does hit the shots too. Nice work by him, and already look at the minimap. He's got Formal pushing ahead. They have no idea he's here. OpTic Gaming could convert this right now.
Crim thought about going for a 1-point play. They call him off.
Oh.
They get greedy going for the dunk, and John punishes both players. A big defensive stop there by John. That keeps Envy in the lead.
An example of really a slight misplay from OpTic Gaming. Instead of just going for that one, they try to force the dunk, and it doesn't work out. Scump, another 2-piece. He's been doing it all map. 10-5 right now. Apathy gets the better of him there as we're 3 minutes into this game, still only a 1-possession game.
You talk to a lot of players, they'll tell you they prefer to play from the side that Envy is on right now. We've seen scores coming in from both sides. Envy, so far, they lead by 1. 2 minutes left in this game, but I'm starting to see a little bit change in their gameplay, a little bit more swagger in their gunfights. OpTic, they're still winning the slaying battle, but Envy is slowly clawing back into this.
They definitely are, and Slasher knows that. He's currently at 7-7, very even between these two teams. Slight edge to OpTic, but when it's that little, it really doesn't make too much of a difference in regards to the objective. Again, Apathy just trying to keep the drone out of that lobby area when he knows OpTic Gaming are pinching from that back ATM side. Karma and crew now moving on up. They've got 2 dead on Envy for the moment. And this flank right here could be deadly. No, John snaps on over.
And one thing I want you guys out in the crowd to keep your eye on is the kill feed in the bottom left. Look how often OpTic Gaming members are getting 2 pieces, 3 pieces, the multi-kills coming in. It's so rare to see it coming in from your blue team, Team EnVyUs. OpTic is just always there to trade, at least so far in this game. Formal poking out. Karma's going to be dropped, but now it's Scump at speed. Slasher trying to answer back, and John is going to get the final kill. Crim6 with the drone, though, is going to run this away from EnVyUs, preventing a last-minute score. And with the grenades coming in, Karma's going to take that trade, even if he took out a teammate.
Yeah, a little bit of a awkward miscommunication there for OpTic, but it definitely happens quite often in competitive Call of Duty. Karma just watching from top station. I think if you're OpTic Gaming right now, yes, you obviously want to score, but if anything, if I'm going to the half down 1-0, I'm fine with that, especially with how Scump and Crim are playing at the moment. They're combined at 25 and 17, solid stuff in there.
Player hiding at the statue is John. He picked up 2 kills, a third one coming in from Slasher, but it's Karma answering back. He has the drone. They're not going for a score. They're waiting for 2 more players to come off spawn. You got Scump and Crim trying to pinch. Scump is going to distract while Crim gets the 2-piece. 1 more point opportunity coming in. Crim just has to pick up 1 more kill.
Oh, but they're going to spawn right on the portal. There's not enough pressure from OpTic Gaming. The throw goes in, though, as 2 players try for the interception. Formal will tie up the game going into the half, but I think that works for OpTic Gaming. If I'm the player on that team, I'm saying, boys, we can absolutely work with that. Let's go into side 2 and now really show off why we're so much better at this side.
At the very end, you see John going after Formal, who hit that last toss. Tie game. 5 more minutes. OpTic Gaming up 2-0 in the best of 5. They can secure their spot in the championship match right here, Jack.
Will they do it, though, is the question. They've got COD champs, winners, Envy in front of them still. They cannot overlook these opponents, even though they do have a 2-map lead. John waiting for some sort of back alley pressure, which is a sign that they know how OpTic Gaming go off the break of this map. Formal's the one trying to flank, and John stops him in his tracks.
The drone being slowly pushed up. Envy going to shut it down. All 4 players alive. 3 players at the forefront. The last man lagging behind is going to be Slasher, who's going to try and cut through the middle. John will join him as they split up in a 2-on-2. Meanwhile, OpTic Gaming, a 4-man defensive setup along the perimeter. They're going to win the first 2 gunfights. Now it's a 4-on-2.
Oh, gosh.
Great defensive stand. Nice patience being shown by the green wall.
Good thing for Envy, though, because it was a defensive stand for OpTic, they will have time to get back towards their station side to stop this score from going on in. There you see it. Envy, they get in position, they wipe OpTic off, and there's a defensive stand now for the boys in blue.
Envy going to try and push this up one more time. You got Formal working alongside Scump and Crim 6. Crim going to get one. Karma, another friendly grenade.
Another friendly grenade. It's a couple now this map in the last few minutes. John looked to punish OpTic off of this, though, and this should be a dunk. There it is. Envy back up by 2.
Very nice movement coming in from John. He is 17 and 14 as well, so the slang has turned up for Envy. They have the lead in this game. OpTic trying to escape, but they have a player looking at him from across. It's going to be Apathy at the top of your map. Nice kill coming in here from JCap as well. Both players able to clear off OpTic, but OpTic answers right back. Karma on your screen.
Trying to stop whatever he can. You can see he's just dancing around. His life's so important, and now he's got the crossfire with his teammate and Scum. Is it enough, though? No. JCap continuing to stay hot. He's on a 4 streak now.
Crim 6 trying to sneak behind Envy. Picks up one. Pulling in another player. Buying his teammates time to push up the map. It's going to be Crim winning the first 2 gunfights. Scump should be able to trade it out.
Scump, though, kills his teammate there again. That's a 3rd time now for OpTic Gaming with those flechette grenades. 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Still very winnable for OpTic Gaming. Envy, they got to keep the pressure on. This is where it gets scary. OpTic moving up the map. Karma with middle map control.